where we left off last weekend was activity logs. We had a great brief from Laurel on mission codes, and then that rolled into how to enter our time, how to create an activity log, and go from there. We went through some basic examples. We're going to pick up where we left off. Okay, so for those of you that have enough screen real estate, it works really well to be able to see my screen and follow along on your own screen with your account logged in. If you have the screen real estate to do that, I highly encourage you to do so. If not, no problem. Two reasons. You can take notes as we go. And also, again, these recordings are going to be available on the district site. The last weekend's is available already, and it was like, I think 4 or 5 hours after the session, and the same thing will happen today, thanks to the Commodore. Okay, so without further ado, we're going to create an activity log, and the way to do that is these menu tabs up here are all clickable, and activity logs is what we want. So we're going to click activity logs. Okay, and we're going to click new. This should be old hat for all you people that were on last weekend. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is a very simple one. It's going to be today's activity. So take notes if you're not logged in, or do it right now. And I hope my email box, at least from my own flotilla, floods with new activity request for approval. Okay, new activity, 95% of the time, you're going to use unit/individual, which is the default. Okay, we'll talk about the exceptions later, but unit/individual is what you're going to use. And you're going to click next. Now this form pops up. You could call it a form or call it an e-form, whatever you'd like. Basically, this replaces all the form numbers that we used to do. So we're going to do a 99 delta right now for this training. 99 delta is for training, and everybody is a lead, and then we're going to go through that process to start out. But that is what you would do with a 7029 form in the old system. If you do a vessel safety check, it would be a 7038 in the old system. Whatever form in the old system it was, the number doesn't matter anymore, and there is no different form. Every single mission code that we do in the auxiliary is available right here with the red asterisk next to it. Okay, this is where we enter all our time. I'll stop here just to say the same thing I said last weekend, and this is important for members to know, and IS in particular. Not everyone in the district obviously is on this call. Not everyone is interested in AUXDATA II or ever being on AUXDATA II. There is still the option, and always will be, at least for the foreseeable future, to make your entries, or excuse me, to submit your time on an old-fashioned form or a piece of paper. Doesn't matter. As long as the IS officer receives it, they can enter information for you. Okay, but I'm assuming everyone on this call, they want to know how to use AUXDATA II, and one of the beautiful things of it, one of the big improvements with this system is you can enter your own time, and that's what we're going to do right now. Unit and OPCON, in a few minutes, when we go into some different mission codes, I'm going to show you when you would change those. But both of these default, and any of these little I buttons, if you hover your mouse over it, it's going to tell you the basically information about this particular field. And this is telling us it's the order issuing authority. And if it's left blank, it will default to your district. And that is what we want it to do 95% of the time. Again, I'm going to talk about some exceptions in a few minutes. But for now, we're just going to leave that as is. Review status, we're going to leave open as is right now. Operations code, this is not used often, but it is something to be aware of. There's a drop-down list, and it's going to be things like, as you can see here, aux chef. We have some chefs in the program that would use this as an operations code. Musician activities, COSTI when we get back to normal operations, and a lot of special things like the hurricane responses and stuff, obviously more on the East Coast. You would use an operations code. Generally speaking though, for almost all of our entries, you're just going to leave that blank as well. We'll go to mission code, and here the 99s come up front and center because those are the ones we're going to use the most. And again, all of you on this call today should be putting down 99 delta Activity code, leave blank. Don't touch that. Mission start time, go ahead and use today. Time is not that critical for a 99, but to be accurate, we're gonna say we started at 9 o'clock, and this should go approximately 4 hours. So I'm gonna put in 4.0. You can just put 4 as well. Summary of activities, we highly encourage you to use this. In fact, it's not like a hardcore requirement from National, but it almost is, because what the IS officer is going to do as part of the approval process is match your mission code with what you say you did, your summary of activities, basically remarks. Okay, so I'm just going to put AD2 training. It's totally whatever you want to put down as remarks. Again, that'll be looked at by the IS officer before they approve the activity. That's all we need to do for a 99. We're going to talk again in a few minutes on some of the other options further on down the form, which are dependent on what mission code we use. So for now, we're good. We're going to click save, and the detail page is going to come up. Okay. These tabs are important, at least a few of them are for everybody. Details is what we're looking at right here, and it's the information that we entered or that defaulted. As you can see, it defaulted to AUX25's home unit, Dana Point, the OPCON 11th Southern, which is our district OPCON, which is the default. Review status is still open. It's going to stay there for now. Our mission code 99 Delta, activity code, which I said to leave blank, it defaults to what it should be, so no worries there. And there's our start time and our duration, and it automatically calculates the end time and your summary of activities. So we're happy with this. Even though I see up here, owner is AUX25 user, which is me in the sandbox. And you will see when you make your own entry, your name there as owner, that it does not mean the activity has been tied to you. It only means you're the one that created this record in Salesforce, in AUXDATA II for us, okay? Everything that's created has a record and an owner of the record, which is the first person to basically create it, okay? So this doesn't mean a lot to us. What we have to do is navigate over here to add member. Click add member. And I do see some activity log requests coming into my email. So people are way ahead of me. That's good. Okay, add member. The easiest way, you can start typing a name in here, but I found the easiest way is a user or a member number. I'm going to do AUX25 because it's not my actual member ID number here, but in production, that's exactly what you type is your user, your actual member number. Then you're going to put a check mark next to your member ID and make sure it's you. And then you have to add members. Okay. Now you notice your member, your name populates down here in the lower field. Position defaults to none. So we need to change that. Whenever we do any 7029 mission, any 99 A, B, C, D, or E, we're always lead. Even if, like today, you're actually being trained, doesn't matter, for any 99 mission, you're a lead. Okay, so we change the position to lead, click update activity members, and green is good. You see save was successful. Okay, we're not done. Notice that the review status is open. And it's going to stay open forever. If you logged out now and went off and did other things, this is never going to get onto an IS officer's desk for approval. Okay. What we have to do is navigate back to the details page. And here is your review status of open with a pencil icon. Wherever you see a pencil icon, it means you can edit that particular field. All right. And we need to edit this. So you're going to click on the pencil icon. We're going to click the drop down and change the status from open to approval requested. Okay. The other options you will not have. I mean, you'll see them, but you won't be able to use them. Only IS can. For regular members submitting time, approval requested is what you're going to click. And then you're going to click save. Okay. Now that is going to go to your FSOIS if you have one. If not, it's going to go to your SOIS for your division. And after I finish doing a few more of these entries, and you guys are old hat in making entries, I'm going to show you what IS looks at and how the approval process actually works from an IS standpoint, okay? But that's all we have to do for this. You can see that the review status is approval requested. Again, it's in an IS box for approval. We're done with it. That's it. Okay. Any of the chat moderators, I'm going to stop for 10 seconds just to see if there's any burning questions. Otherwise, I'm going to press right on into another activity log. Okay, silence is good in this case. We're going to go new. Again, activity logs new, unit individual. Next. And we had a question actually last session, if I remember correctly, about PVs, marine dealer visits. And those of you that did them, remember the old form, I 7046. The electronic version was a little awkward and you couldn't put fractions of an hour. An hour was as little as it would take per line item. So we had some workarounds for that. Without going into that, this works a lot better. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to pretend this is in Sandbox that we just did marine dealer visit mission. Okay, so again, we're going to let unit and opcon default. We don't have a mission code, an operations code associated with a PV. We do have a mission code. So we're going to scroll down to 11. If you don't know the numbers, that's no problem. They have the printout right here on what each mission is. So you find the mission you want. RBS visitor missions, boom, click it. Activity code's going to default. Let's say we did one on the 3rd and we did it at noon, that's fine. Let's say we did 2 hours, that's fine too. And I'm going to just put PV visits. All right. This is one of the mission codes where more information is needed. Now, in production, I know this works. What I'm going to do right now is to show you, I'm going to test that if I try and click save without filling out more information with a mission code that requires it, it should give me an error message. So I'm going to click save and see what happens. Sure enough, it says, review the errors on this page. Please fill in number of visits field. Okay, I can do that. All right. Unfortunately, for that demo, I'm going to have to start over, but I can do it pretty quick. Okay, so mission code 11. I just wanted to show you how if you don't do it right, it's going to let you know most of the time. All right, so in this case, program visits, let's say we did 2, and we put the business names here just like we used to do on the 7046, okay? That's all you need to do. 2, and the business names, for brevity, I did West Marine ×2 and save it. And then we're into the same page with every activity log we do. It's gonna start off once you save it with this details page, quick check of unit, opcon, mission, PVs. Yes, it's got my 2 West Marine, I'm good to go. I've got to put myself in as the member, okay? AUX25, click your name, add members. Most of these have a validation built in, whereas if you try and make yourself lead for a PV and you're not a qualified or certified PV or you're REYR, it's going to give you an error message. Same thing with any mission code as lead that requires a certification, whether it be VE or anything else, okay? AUX25 is a PV, so this should take. Save was successful. Again, we're going to go back to details. We're going to go edit the review status. I'm going quicker here on purpose. This should be starting to become routine. Change the review status to open to approval requested and save it. Boom. There's another one in the IS desk. Okay. We're going to move right along. Activity logs. I want to give a few examples here. This next example is going to be a UPV. UPV, uninspected passenger vessel, special qualification, and it's one of the examples where we're going to use a different opcon, not the default district opcon. Okay, so again, unit individual, next. UPV, they are going to use sector. So you just start typing sector Los, and there it is, sector Los Angeles LB. What OPCON means, it's an acronym for operational control. It's basically who is the order issuing authority for that particular mission. UPVs and all the MS missions, you're actually working for sector, not the district. So that's why the OPCON changes. A little bit later, in fact, pretty soon, we're very fortunate to have Bill Schultz on the call, one of the premier comms people in the nation, really, for the auxiliary, and he's going to explain some of the OPCON differences for radio stuff. So I'm personally looking forward to that. All right, so for this UPV mission, we've changed the OPCON. We can leave the unit to default as is. Operations code not applicable here. Mission code, it's one of the 91s, right? Because it is like a vessel safety check, but more. And here we have an uninspected passenger vessel 91 Delta. Click that. When did we do it? Let's say we did it on Wednesday. We can leave the time. Again, you can select whatever time you want or whenever you did it. And whatever your duration was, it'll take tenths, even hundredths of an hour. Okay, and then you could put in here for both vessel exams, UPVs, anything like that, whatever remarks your SOVE or whoever is in charge of the mission you're doing at a higher level, whatever remarks they wanted to see on the legacy forms, you can put in here in summary of activities. For example, you might put the documentation number of the vessel that you inspected, or the marina, slip number, whatever information you used to put in. You have plenty of room here in summary of activities to put the same as remarks. And then again, if I clicked save right now, it's going to say, hey, how many exams did you do, etc. I'm going to say I just did one. Wasn't the first time. The guy passed, and it wasn't high focus. Okay, and then we're going to click save. There we go. Back to our details page. Defaulted to data point. OPCON stayed the way we wanted to, sector LA-LB, and all this information like we just put in there. Again, got to go to add member. You got to find the member. And then, by the way, if you're an instructor and you're entering, you give an ops workshop, for example, and you have 10, 15 people in the class, you would type in one by one their member numbers, and eventually, and you click them one by one here and add them one by one right there and change their position. Okay. So you can populate a huge class list, excuse me, based right from here. These examples are just using one, but to let you know, you can do many more. There we go. We've got the member populated as crew member and position lead, and we're going to update activity members. Save was successful. Okay. What's left? What do we need to do next? You guys should know this now. You're going to edit review status to approval requested. And we're going to click save. Again, unless this final step is done, the review status will not change from open. It'll stay in open, and you will never get credit for your time. Okay. Now, any questions on that from the moderators? Okay.
Able to enter trainees and task capture. So I'm not sure if that was on the agenda.
I can do that quickly. Yeah, it's actually a good question. You'll start a new activity. You'll be unit individual. You're going to go next. Default for unit and for OPCON. The mission code depends on what you're instructing. 06A would be for like operations workshop, okay, or the TCTs. And 06B is going to be for non-operational training. This is for the instructor. This is actually, I'm really glad this question came up, because this is a change from the way we have done things for a long time. And the change was mandated or basically mandated from national, that we're trying to get everyone to do it correctly. When you're in IT, you're going to use, and you instruct a course, okay? It's going to be 06A or 06B if you're teaching other auxiliary members. If it's a PE course, of course, you're going to use one of the 14 codes for whatever course you're teaching the public. We used to put, even on like a TCT, we put all the trainees as 06 alpha, and the 4 hours they'd get credit under 06 alpha time. That is technically incorrect, because 06 alpha is only supposed to be used for instructors, qualified instructors, okay? So the way National has us doing it now is you're basically going to have to make 2 activity logs if you're an instructor. One is going to be for yourself and other co-instructors using either 06A or 06B, okay, when you're teaching other auxiliarists. Then you're going to go in and make another activity log. And I recommend you do this rather than just throwing it off on the class and say, do your own 99 deltas. But basically, everyone else is going to go in to AUXDATA for whatever you taught them based on a 7029/99 delta for training and the 4 hours or whatever the class was. And they're not trainees. Any 99 code of any kind, you're going in as a lead, okay? So I hope that's clear as mud. That is a change. So instructors, again, you're going to make 2 activity log entries, one for the instructors with the appropriate code, and then a 99 delta for not trainees, but attendees, and they're all going to be lead. And if you do it all for them, especially if it's a class like 10, 15 people, that way everyone's going to get, their time's going to be entered. When you leave it up to the class, we found, less than half are actually going to do it. So I hope that answers whoever asked that question.
Chris, actually, I have a question about that. So if we
Yes.
do it that way, how do the trainees get credit for that course? Because before in the 06A, we would do task capture, right, to
Yes.
associate the course with the trainees.
Yes, and this is actually a policy thing that we're working out as far as, let me go to an activity log. Just any activity log will work. Okay. What Tyler is talking about is this is not something that I'm going to cover today. There's a good reason for that. First, it's more granular than most regular members need to know. And also, we don't want regular members adding tasks and going to member and task capture. That is how ADSOs and DIROCs volunteers are going to assign a task to a member. So the way we've done it for a long time is we've had even FSOs enter an ops workshop, for example, and find the task. This is in the old system. You enter the activity, and you basically attach the ops workshop to that activity, and then everyone is going to get credit when the activity is approved for that. AUXDATA II, it works a little differently, and it's a little quirky. And because every task is available, and I'm going to show you the list. Click New, and you go to any of these categories. There are just about anything that you can think of in the auxiliary, even like give yourself NAVRO's exam 70. Needless to say, we don't want regular members or even FSO, even SOIS is doing this right now. The way the policy works in D11 South is you're gonna make the basic time entry, and then you're gonna, for example, if it's an AUX-CT core training, or if it's TCT or whatever, it's going to be passed on up to the DIROC's office, and then it'll be farmed out to either DSO or ADSO to attach and add the task to the record so that everybody gets credit. Tyler, does that answer your question? And
It does, thank you. So for an IT, right, if as an instructor, I hold a course with attendees, so I create a 06A for my own time and co-instructors. I create 99Ds for all attendees, all trainees. And then I have to notify DIROCs that this course has happened with the list of trainees, so that then they get credit for the course. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. Okay. That is correct. Now this could be something that will flex down the road, especially for some of the things like what we used to do, the ops workshop and stuff. But then certain things will always be under the DIROC's purview, things like core training, things like TCT, where not only does the course have to be credited to the member, but a certification is going to follow, and only DIROCs can do the certifications. So that's why we limit it. Okay, Let's take a look at a couple of activity logs quickly. We'll just take a minute or two and then we'll have a 10-minute break. And here's a bunch of approval requested. The IS officers all have their custom lists. They're not going to use recently viewed. They're going to have a custom list for their specific either flotilla or division. And any IS officers on the call, if you don't have that set up, you get a hold of your SOIS or myself after, and we'll make sure that you do. But I'm pretty confident we all do. All right. Rather than relying on emails coming in, we can go to our custom list and see all the activity logs that are basically waiting for us to approve. Okay. So I'll just pick one. Let's go to the 91 Delta, the UPV mission that we just did. So again, IS officer is going to select the activity and he's going to do the same check that you as a member did. You're going to check that the unit makes sense, that the OpCon makes sense. In this case, 91 Delta is a sector. It's not default, so that's good. You're going to check that the mission matches the summary of activities. And if it's a mission that requires additional information, that's in there too, and that there's no typos. Okay. IS, we're not the time police. So we're not going to, hey, if the guy put, let's say 3.5 hours instead of 1.5, you're not going to get pushback on that. I mean, unless it's 30.5 and possibly a typo. Same thing with number of exams. If someone puts 1 or 2, whatever it is, and it makes sense, that's great. If they put 100, you're going to get a call, and it's just to clarify. Okay. You may get a call, or what the IS officer has the ability to do is go in here, review status, and change the review status to needs clarification. Then the member who submitted the time is going to get an email. And they're going to say, hey, such and such activity log needs clarification. You'll have to go into the activity log. The IS officer will fill out clarification comments here. That's what this big dialog box is for. And he or she will say whatever it was that they saw that they have a question on or that you need to correct. Okay. If they like it and if everything looks good, then there's two processes or 2 steps basically in the approval process, starting with an FSOIS. You see this FSOIS reviewed box here. Now, the account I'm in right now in Sandbox, I don't have the ability to edit this, but all our FSOISs should have it. So they will actually not be changing review status to approval, from approval requested to approved. They can try, but it won't work, or it shouldn't work, because only the SOISs who have actually also been to AUX10, that's DSO and DIROC's office cannot grant what they call activity approver status, which is the highest IS level. It has to come from BSX, from national, and they're not going to approve it unless you've been to the actual AUX10 class. At least that's the way it is now. So again, the FSOIS is going to review it. He's going to either go, he or she needs clarification, or he's going to leave it alone. Let me put it back to approval requested. And they're going to check the FSOIS reviewed box. Then the SOIS is going to, on their list, see, okay, there's an approval requested and it's been checked by the FSOIS, so it's my turn to check it. And you'd go back in and you do all the same things, including going to add member and making sure that the member's there and that the position matches what they did. You'd go back to details, click the drop down, and you change it to approved, and you click save. That's how it works. So to answer the earlier question, I think from John, all the activities that you enter yourself are in the system. If you see approval requested, they're on somebody's desk. Now, if it stays there for weeks and weeks, I'd give the guy a call and pimp him. But generally speaking, the SOISs will work through their own division, and you should see an approved here eventually, or a needs clarification. Any questions?
Yeah, yeah, Chris, Tom Payne asked, when we submit an activity and select approval requested, how is the IS officer notified to make the approval? Gets an email, correct?
Yeah, you get an email, and yes, the short answer is you'll get an email, which these are automatically filled in fields down on the bottom left of any activity log. And you can see it auto populates with whoever your FSOIS is and whoever your SOIS is. So those are the people that are going to get emails. That's one way that they know. The other way, even more reliable way, is each IS officer has their custom list, and they should be checking frequently to see what's in there that needs their attention.
Glad you brought that up. Next question, regarding an IT that instructs a class. He fills out a 7039 and submits it to the FSOIS. My understanding is then the IS officer takes that 7039 and creates 2 entries. That sound right so far?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing prevents the instructor from doing it themselves as well, but you're still going to have to notify IS and make sure whatever task is involved goes up and gets entered at a certain level.
Yeah, a lot of confusion on that issue. So
yeah. In general, guys, I mean, this system is still new and it's still evolving, and we're all kind of new to it, all of us. So when questions like that come up, instead of spending 2-3 hours trying to dig through, an old user guide or a video, use your IS team. That's what we're there for. Start with your FSOIS and the FSOIS. If they don't know, they're going to go to the SOIS, but use that chain to have your answer, to answer your questions, basically. Okay.